Okay. So you were talking about how people have to have jobs and money to afford such things.
Right.
So,
Well, okay. Well, let me elaborate on that a little bit. I don't know what it's like now. I'm sure it's probably gotten a lot worse because I heard, you hear on TV that, now 12-year-olds are starting to smoke. Well, that's a little too young for my taste. But when I was growing up, you got a job, you made money, you could afford to go buy a small bag of weed and, get high on the weekends and have fun with your friends. Okay? And not only that, but like I was going to say before your mom so rudely interrupted.
hey, just relax.
Was that a lot of your juniors and seniors, they're adults, they're old enough to vote, they have jobs, they're not all dirtbags like the media tries to portray them to be, and then the freaking cops and everybody treat them like shit. It's like, whoa, they're more responsible than you, butthole, because cops. I mean, how much do cops get paid? Local yokels get paid what, $24,000 to $30,000 a year, right? Mm-hmm. They don't get paid all that much, and these kids are getting paid almost that much, and they're only working part time. So you know what? They can kiss my ass. They're earning their own money. They're buying a bag of weed and they're smoking it and they're having fun on the weekends, and it's not going to hurt them. They get high for 3 hours and then it wears off, and they're more concerned about it. It's like, okay, see, I talked to my parents about this, and this is a pretty strong topic if you want to get technical. Back in the day, they used to drink before school, during school, after school. They don't do that so much anymore. No. Now it's about, they smoke a joint, 3 hours goes by, and they're sober. You can't just drink, get fucked up, and be over it in 3 hours. It don't work that way. Alcohol is a lot different than marijuana.
Right.
I don't know why they make such a big deal out of it. And then, like I said, towards the end of my junior year and into my senior year is when they started putting in cameras. They were doing dog patrols for marijuana and had a cop that was on constant patrol. An actual police officer, not just some. It was an actual police officer. And I always wondered, why would they waste so much time and money on something so stupid? Because you know damn well that if they're not going to be able to get away with one thing, they're going to do the other, and at the same time, those kids are more responsible than the police officers.
Well, that brings up a good subject. It's like, okay, you said that if they can't do the one, they're going to move to the other.
Sure.
Because
that's what when you're young and you're dumb and full of cum, you do stupid shit like that. But why do you have to make a big stink about it and throw parents in jail and throw kids in jail? They got jobs. They're the ones that are,
Well, because there are some.
There are some
irresponsible
very,
ones.
very few. There's
not so much.
Heather, slow down. Slow down. Let me explain. The ones that don't smoke pot that are irresponsible, are they any different than the ones that are responsible and smoke pot?
What?
Which ones? The ones that have a job and make the money to be able to afford to smoke pot on the weekends and hang out with their buddies. Mm-hmm. The ones that can afford car insurance in an automobile.
Right.
The ones that can afford to be able to put gas in their car to drive back and forth to work. You're saying that one of them is just as bad as somebody else that's a total dirtbag that gets their pot from their parents?
No. That's not what I said. I'm saying that...
Well, then what are you saying? Who's interviewing who here?
I'm trying to get to that. Okay, so... my thing that irritates me is that they're calling pot a gateway drug. Well, I tell you what.
Gosh,
I tell you
please,
what. There are people who smoke pot their entire lives.
Everything is a gateway drug. Caffeine is a gateway drug. A drug is a drug. Is a drug. A drug is a drug. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's nicotine. I don't care if it's caffeine. I don't care if it's alcohol. I don't care if it's marijuana. I don't care if it's heroin. I don't care if it's cocaine. I don't care. A drug is a drug. And there's a lot of people that go to the hospital and they get thrown on drugs. And guess what? You want to talk about gateway drugs? There's more kids that start on cocaine because they're ADHD, and they start out with what?
Ritalin.
Yeah, and what's Ritalin? That's poor man's cocaine. It's an amphetamine.
All right, so...
And tell me that's not any better. Tell me, please, just piss me off just a little.
I'd rather not. Okay, so...
And they want to shove the shit down the kid's throat because somebody can make money somewhere. Whereas, like, pot is illegal, so therefore they can't control it as well, so nobody can make any money off of it, so they're going to label everybody as a bad person for smoking pot.
Okay, so if they legalize it, what should be the legal age for it? Same age as cigarettes? 18?
Sure. Yeah. I think if you're old enough to get a job, you're old enough to serve your country, you're old enough to vote, you're old enough to smoke pot, and you're old enough to drink.
Okay, so that being said, there are ways of getting around it, just like with everything else.
Do I think that you should be driving and smoking pot? No. Do I think that you should be going to school and smoking pot? No. Do I think you should be going to work and smoking pot? No.
Okay, so you're saying that it should be
It should be regulated. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And most of your smokers, the ones that can afford it, your kids, your high school kids, are the ones that have jobs, the ones that are responsible. Those are your main recreational smokers. That's where they get their money. Well, where else are they going to get the money from? They're going to pull it out of their ass?
Well, you know as well as I do that there are some that don't have
jobs.
There
are some, yes. That's like saying, okay, there's some people in my family that do a lot of bad shit. Does that mean my entire family's bad?
No.
See, that's called collectivism.
Ah, alright. Okay. So, pot should be legalized. Hemp should be used for ropes, everything. I mean, we talked about this before. Hemp necklaces, materials, paper,
who cares?
Fuel, everything.
No, I think we should go stick with. I think we should go back to making paper out of hemp, because not only that, but the paper money that some of the original paper money they played around with hemp for a little while, and you know what? It worked better than that stupid shit that we got now. They put cotton in it, and cotton's a good product as well. Don't get me wrong, but hemp's better.
All right. So, and it grows faster and can be harvested more.
Right, and then you won't need, and all this GMO shit and all that, because you could use hemp oils, because hemp oils do not have THC in it, and they're healthier for you than actual vegetable oil that they manufacture from corn, that we made a video previously about.
Alright.
And it's really good for cooking. I tried it.
Okay, so, that being said.
Not only that, but it grows twice as fast as corn, and produces twice as much fuel.
And works really well for cancer patients to help them.
Right. Well, no. Well, see, there's different kinds. That's actual THC. Actual THC shrinks tumors.
Well, yeah, I know.
I'm talking about just the.
Just hemp. Okay, hemp oil.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking about. If you want to go with that, then because you need a lot of seeds to make hemp oil. And when you got a lot of seeds, and the more seeds you have in a bud, of course, anybody out there that smokes pot would know this. The more seeds in the bud, it don't get you as high.
Alright. Okay.
That's just a fact of the matter.
So that being said.
Yeah, once it pollinates, it's done deal. All it is,
it's kind of like
it's
tobacco.
It's a weed. That's why they call it weed. All it is a weed.
Right.
No, it's not even like tobacco. Tobacco is worse for you than marijuana is. And they
not the plant itself, just all the crap that they put in the filters and all the crap
and
that
the
they put in the paper,
and all that shit. Yeah, right. Correct.
The plant itself is.
But they try to sell this prospect that smoking one marijuana cigarette is like smoking a pack of
cigarettes,
like tobacco cigarettes. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Where do you get that figure from?
Oh, I'm sure from the
if you take just the tobacco out of the cigarette, right? Mm-hmm. You take just the tobacco out, and then you take just the marijuana out, and you put it side by side, and you put it in. You take it to a diagnostics thing, and you stick it in there, and they zap it with a lightning bolt or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and then it analyzes the smoke, and it gets all the chemicals out of it. Mm-hmm. Which one do you think is going to be worse, this or marijuana?
Probably that.
See, they freaking fudge the statistics to their advantage.
Hmm.
Okay, next.
Well, that was pretty much the only subject I had to talk about for that. I mean, because we were talking about it earlier. And,
how do I think it affects kids? I think kids, I don't think we should be promoting it for kids. Absolutely not. I don't think anybody under the age of 18 should be allowed. However, most of your kids that smoke it, well, from my experience anyways, I don't know what it is like now, but from my experience, are the more responsible ones. The ones that have a job, the ones that have the money, the ones that have a car, they have, car insurance, gas money. The ones that can afford it, but they don't sit there and they're not druggies.
See, yet
the thing is they get a blemish on their record. They get tried as adults from the age 16, 17, 18 years old. They can get tried as an adult. And once they get tried as an adult, that goes on their record for the rest of their lives. So you're taking a responsible teenager and destroying their life because they're smoking weed.
Well, in the way it was, because as you know, I grew
Wrong.
up in...
It's just wrong.
I grew up in California. So it was way different in California when we were growing up, That most of the kids...
Well, I came from a small town.
Right. Well...
I'm not saying I was innocent. I smoked pot.
In the 80s, the town I was from, because I'm from Mountain View, woo, and it was small back in the 70s and 80s. It was small. It didn't really...
Where are you going with this?
I'm just saying...
I thought you were interviewing me, not the other way around. They can get to the point.
I'm saying that most of the kids who were smoking were not responsible, did not have jobs. And
well, where'd they get the money to smoke it? Where did they get the money to smoke it?
Where do you think they got the money to smoke it?
They were either doing crime. Mm-hmm. Right. So you're saying most of them did that? So you're saying most... If that's the case, by your statistics, what you're trying to say is that there's a lot of kids out there.
Yeah.
And if they're all doing it, they're doing crime to make their money to go so they can go smoke a joint. That means that that means that there's the crime is the crime rate really that freaking high? Prove your point.
Okay, fine. Out of the 10 friends that I had, just in my close group of friends.
Well, you had some dumbass friends.
Well, yeah, I never said I was a smart kid. Out of the 10 friends I had, I would say 3 of them smoked pot regularly. One of them did have a job. The other one got an allowance from his parents.
Sure, but that's working, is it not?
And...
Huh!
No, he didn't work. His parents were stinking rich. And the other one did not have a job. He just, would either...
You see, that you're collectivizing again. This is the way I see it. The people that actually worked for their money, they wanted to go out and have a good time, and they wanted to buy a nickel, smoke a bowl, smoke a joint. They paid for it. And then you have your assholes, you're right, there are your assholes that go out and break into houses and stuff, but there's people that do that and they don't do it for marijuana, they do it for other reasons.
That's true. Alright, so maybe I'm a collectivist on rare occasions.
You're collectivizing. You're using the mainstream media statistics as a brainwash tactic. And guess what? You're falling for it. And you're an idiot.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. I appreciate that. So anyway, that's pretty much the only thing that I had as far as that subject goes. Plus the light's getting a little low here. And, so, did you have any last words?
I don't know. You asked me a question and said you were going to hang up the phone. So, I mean, do you want me to keep going?
Did you have any last words?
Stop and think about it. What? Stop. Yes, I do have some last words. What do you think is better? Do you think it's better that we got dogs and policemen and cameras in the schools?
No,
or do you think it's better that, when kids are responsible, they know that smoking pot's bad and they do it on their own time? but they can afford it and they're at least responsible enough to be able to afford it. Which one's better? Are we going to promote dirtbag machines going through the system, or are we going to promote people with like creativity and, you know, have some kind of sense of humility? Which one do you want to promote? Do you really want cameras and dogs and police in your schools?
No, because I don't want my son to be going through that. I didn't go through that, so I don't expect my son to go through it.
Right. So you're going to punish 90% of the people because 10%
are dirtbags?
Right.
No, I don't.
And you know what? That's not even the kids' fault. That's the parents' fault.
I know.
So why are you going to punish all kids because of not 10%?
So what you're saying is that we need to educate parents then?
Educate them. It's already too late. They're screwed. You know that.
Well, so we can't really...
And smoking a freaking joint is not going to change anything. I mean, they're just trying to point blame at something, and they're just using it as an easy target.
All right. So what's your last words as far as what should be done about it then? Legalize it?
Yeah, sure. And not only that, but get people the fuck out of the way. You know, excuse my French, but, I mean, we don't need cameras in schools. We don't need police in schools. We don't need dogs in schools. That's just bullshit. That's just encouraging more bad behavior, because kids are clever. They're going to come up with new ways to infiltrate anything. And the more you put in their way, the more they're going to figure out how to get around it, under it, or over it.
All right.
They're not stupid. Kids are not stupid.
No. They can do what they can.
So the more you put in their way, all you're doing is you're just training them to be better criminals.
Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to end it. We're probably going to talk about something very interesting tomorrow morning. I'm sure you'll think of something. Me too. All right. So, say goodbye, Ron. All right. Bye.